Holy shit, Justin! That was the most setup. That was the most prolonged thing I've ever had to do to do a podcast.
All right, we did it.
Holy crap! You were waiting here at 7 so we could go on at 8 because we didn't know there was a show, and then setting all up this, and now we have like these crazy spots. It's crazy, man. But
it's all right. It's all good.
I'm not worried about it,
to be
man.
here.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy to have you too, man. I'm glad we could grab a drink before this. That was
even
nice.
better.
You know, I got the gin and tonic. You had the vodka soda?
Tequila soda.
Or tequila
it's my
soda?
Go-to. Yep, always.
Is that how you stay so thin, man?
It helps. I mean, I'm just not like super into sweet stuff, surprisingly. So I actually am pretty healthy.
Okay, because I'm speaking for all of your followers right here.
Yeah.
How do you do what you do and stay in shape, my man?
It's a lot of different things. I think the biggest thing I had to learn is that I can't eat all the food myself. It's just not physically possible. So I share a lot of it with friends, family, staff in the restaurants, homeless people. And yeah, just trying to like have some willpower and control what I'm eating.
Really? So you're telling me that when you are sitting at a table just like this and there's food just every inch.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I eat what looks good to me, and I'll pick and I'll try everything, and I'll figure out which like dish or two I'm most into, and then I'll eat that and share the rest. So,
dang.
Yeah.
Do you feel bad when you're in that situation?
I try not to waste food. So, a lot of it is food that restaurants are just like sending out, even if it's not stuff that I've ordered. But I figure out a way to either give it to people or give it to homeless people, like I said, or if I haven't touched it, if I've just photographed it, I'll usually send it back to the kitchen and let them enjoy it. So,
dude,
whatever I can do to eliminate the waste, but still good content.
Dude, you're mad nice about everything.
I try.
My ass would be taking to-go boxes.
I do that too. I mean, I bring it to my family, I bring it to friends. So I do both.
I'd be like, Mom, here we are. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
so it depends. If I'm going home, I'll bring it. If I'm running around all day, I'll figure out another thing to do.
Okay. So real quick before we get into it, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with Justin, and he is the genius behind DC Food Porn. And I don't want to explain you to everyone. So what exactly do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a title on what I do. I mean, first and foremost, I'm a social media sort of food blogger, influencer, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, just kind of sharing my life and what I'm eating with my audience on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy because we were sitting at the bar and you were like, it's funny that people say I have a dream job, but that's what it is. But at the same time, there's so much more to it than just showing up and eating and taking a photo.
Exactly. It is that. I mean, that's part of what I do.
That is it on surface value.
But that's what people see, and there's so much that goes into being able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, it's a dream job, but it's a job, and it's work, and it's my career at this point. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of food and all that, but it's also a lot of like emails, setting things up, scheduling, like negotiating contracts, all that boring stuff that goes into being able to do all the fun stuff. So
it's like running a business.
Yeah. So I'm doing like 10 people's jobs in one, but I've gotten used to it. I mean, it's been like, I think 4 or 5 years now that I've been doing this. So
it's still just you?
Still just me. I mean, I've had some like interns here and there, and like obviously people help me out on like project by project basis. But for the most part, all the emails, all the calls, all the posting, captions, photos, everything is just me.
So you said you've been doing it for about like 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah. I started at my end of my freshman year at Georgetown, and really just for fun. And at the time it was just fun and food and posting and all that stuff that people see. And as the audience grew and as I grew up and graduated, I sort of wanted to figure out how to evolve that into a career.
How did you... With the name DC Food Porn, that is so good.
Yeah.
That is the best brandable name I've ever heard.
You.
Like, I feel like that's 50% of the battle when it comes to being on social media. Like,
is the name. Absolutely.
What's up with that?
I mean, like I said, I started a couple years ago before it was impossible to get a good name.
4 or 5 years ago, you could have gotten some good stuff on IG.
So I was like, what am I posting? I'm posting about DC, I'm posting food, and how can I like make that sound a little sexier? And came up with DC Food Porn. It was not the first name, but the first name was freshman_foodie.
When I underscore, it's the
underscore was not good. The freshman thing was like, I was only a freshman for like 2 months, and then I wasn't a freshman anymore at that point. And
then the word foodie.
And foodie, yeah. I wanted something a little more mature, something that I could be doing 5-10 years from then, and luckily I'm still doing that. So
that's crazy that was a thought even back then. Like, I want to do this. Even like
yes and no.
Like you were literally going to school.
Yeah.
And during school, you're like, I want to do something completely different.
Yeah. So it was a thought that I would want to do it for fun. But never did I expect to have more than 100 followers or be able to make a single penny off of it. It's like, I didn't have that mindset, but I was like, if I'm going to make an Instagram account, like I want to name that I might be happy with in a couple of years, but I didn't really think.
It's always like a
beyond that.
deep thought when you do something like that. You know,
Yeah.
when you kind of make something like off the whim, or I don't know how it started or like what the inspiration was, but it's always like one of those weird thoughts where you're like, yeah, if this got really big.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even think like that though. Like
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until I hit like 1,000 or 5,000 or like whatever, some number, that I was like, this could actually be bigger. But when I first started, it was honestly just because I was posting food on my personal Instagram account, and like I felt like people are getting annoyed. So I was like, I'm just gonna like create a new account. If people want to follow that, they can. But like, I'm not gonna throw this food down my friend's throat that just want to like see what I'm doing in college. So it honestly started as a way of like hiding from like all the food and the stuff that I was posting, and then just kind of grew. And look at me now. Yeah.
So like it didn't start with some giant maniacal like I'm gonna create
I
DC's
did.
best food blog
Yeah,
and get
not at
paid
all.
tons of money. It was like you were legit just a guy who was trying to post food pictures.
Yeah, it was just like I always like I loved eating out. I grew up in this area. Like we didn't cook a lot at home. Like we went out to dinner instead. And so it was just kind of like doing my thing and documenting.
There's
that.
something to be said for that. That is a very this area, like DC,
absolutely, yeah.
East Coast,
Yeah.
metropolitan area thing to do because our parents work 9 to 7.
Right, they're not
essentially.
cooking.
They can't cook.
Right.
So you eat out and
Right.
like I guess
Eat out or bring carry out or
Yep.
whatever. But
Yep.
so when I got to college, I was like used to that, and I was like in a great city like DC. I mean, I grew up in Potomac, so like 20 minutes away, but I didn't get into the city that often. So being able to do that, be in college, walk off campus, and be in Georgetown, like it was awesome. So I was just doing that, taking photos and posting, and I didn't really like associate my name with the account at first. I didn't put my photo anywhere. Like I wasn't looking for that to
Like
like
you were trying to
grow
be
and
anonymous
like
in a
famous
weird-
and all that kind of, yeah. None of that was like my goal back then. So
But when you were doing that, was there a moment when you were like, whoa, like maybe I got something?
there were like a couple different moments. I mean, I think there were certain follower counts that like legitimized what I was doing, but I think it was more so like brands reaching out and being like, we want to send you our products, or we want to pay you, or we want to work with you, or whatever it was. That was like how did they find me? That's so cool. Like I think Sweet Cream was one of the first brands
And they're from Georgetown.
to reach out to me, and I think that's how they found me. Like they started at Georgetown. I only had like 5,000 or 10,000 followers at the time, and
You can't say only 5,000 or
Okay.
10,000.
Yeah, you're right. And
for,
at the
for
time,
some
that was,
people, that is a lot of people like me.
Yes, and at the
like
time,
me.
that was huge. Like
Yeah.
I thought I was like a rock star. I had so many followers.
So,
like,
but you gained followers that fast?
yeah, I mean, it's been years, but
Okay,
it,
at that moment, okay.
it's been just like steady growth. I've had a couple like viral videos and like press articles and things that like shot me up a little bit, but there was never a moment where I woke up with like 100,000 new followers. Like it's just honestly been like,
And no one really wants that.
No,
either. Like,
I think that's hard.
No one really wants that like overnight pop because you really want that like depth.
I
in what you're
agree, and
doing.
I think like because I've been doing this for a while and growing steadily, like I understand my audience. Like I know what they like. I feel like they know that they can reach out to me. They can leave comments and DMs, and like it's not like they followed me because of one video or one thing, but it's like it's been a process.
They're not like following you because you're doing slow-mo cheese, even though
Yeah.
that's exactly what you do sometimes. But like
Yeah.
you're not. It's not like that one video that was like
right.
dripping cheese. I don't know.
It's they're in for the ride, and I think that's what's cool. Like I'll get messages from people and be like, I've been following you since like day one, and like I'm still here, and like
It's crazy to
Just wanna
think
let you
that
know that.
4 or 5 years is like a long time.
It is in the world of social media.
In the world of social media,
Yeah.
like to be doing it for 4 or 5 years, that is a wicked long time.
it is. I mean, I like back then I was studying business. I thought I was gonna like have to work on Wall Street or like get a real estate job or like do something like that, and I was into that, but at the same time, it's never like totally me. Like I wanted to sort of do my own thing, be my own boss, and I like never thought that this would be that. Like people weren't doing Instagram full time. Like it just was not possible. So
Dude, 5 years ago, if you told someone that you were making full-time living off of a platform,
I
or
would have
Instagram,
laughed. Yeah.
people would have laughed at
Yeah.
you. Your parents would be like, "You're crazy.
Yeah.
What are you going to school for?"
Yeah, I mean, and luckily my parents were so supportive, but like they were supportive of what I was doing, but like back then they would never have thought it'd be like a job. Like nobody did, and
They were
it's
like,
cool
"Oh,
to see that.
that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool,
like, it's a fun
Justin.
hobby,
Yeah,
like,
that's
keep doing-
fun.
yeah.
Keep spending all your money on
Yeah.
expensive shit in DC because everything's expensive.
Yeah. Well, and back when I started, it was a lot of like cupcakes and donuts and sandwiches, and like
you're
because I
right.
wanted to like post every day and like be on top of it, I had to like figure out how to like do that without spending too much money and like.
So what did you do? How are you finessing it back then?
There was a short period of time where I was really busy with school. I was like not able to like take photos every day, and I would like pull and like repost other people's stuff. There was like I think like a 6 month, maybe a year period where I did that, And I created a hashtag DC food porn, and people would just like use that, and I'd pull photos from there, obviously give them credit.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I did that honestly just to be able to like get through like some stressful semesters at college when I honestly couldn't create content, even though I wanted to be posting every day. And people still use that. Like I think that hashtag has like 300,000 or 400,000 like posts on there.
Oof.
And I still like go through, I'll like them, I'll comment, but like I don't, now it's all original content, so I don't necessarily use it for the purpose of sharing it, but it's cool to like see how that community has grown.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. With school, it was really tough.
Dude, I can only imagine,
Yeah.
man. So you're in school, you start this Instagram account.
Yeah.
It's not even a blog. Like,
No.
which is actually kind of relieving.
I thought about it. I have a website. Like, I set myself up to be a blogger or whatever you want to call it. And it's just, like, not what I like to do. I like to create content, visual content, and that sort of thing, and tell stories that way. And
Dude, you got to be that kind of person to want to write.
it's not me.
Like-
I'm just not.
I was talking with Barnett, the DC Fashion Fool, and
Yeah.
he wanted to be a blogger. Like, he was fashion
Yeah.
blogging. It made so much sense for him. He wasn't just like, oh, I want to do this, so I should write.
Right.
He just likes to write, so it made sense.
It made sense, exactly. I think a lot of this is trial and error and figuring out what you want to do. Like, I know food people that are really into recipe creation. Like, I tried that, and it wasn't my thing. Like,
Not much of a chef.
I can make breakfast, I can make pasta, like, I can make the basics, but I'd much rather go out and eat a better meal.
Hell
and
yeah.
I realized that over the years, and so it's just been a lot of, like, figuring out what am I good at, what do I enjoy, like, what does my audience enjoy, and it's just, like, figuring
What
that
does
out.
your audience enjoy?
I think that's changed.
Yeah?
At first, it was just like chocolate cheese, like super over the top food porn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it sort of evolved. It then evolved into like restaurant recommendations and like what's like actual stuff in DC that we
Like
can
actual
eat.
brick and mortar foods
Yeah.
besides these novelty, like Georgetown cupcakes.
Right. So I sort of tried to evolve it into like where can you actually go eat and like you can get cupcakes and all that decadent stuff, but where can you get sushi? Like where can you get a good salad? All that kind of stuff. And I think since then it's sort of evolved into like my life as an influencer. Like it sounds pretentious, but
No, but you're a bona fide influencer.
but like now that I'm traveling and now that I'm like going on trips and working with brands and like going to 3 or 4 restaurants a day, like it's the food stuff and then it's also like that lifestyle that people I think are sort of really interested in. So
Jesus, did you actually go to 3 to 4 restaurants a day?
sometimes, yeah. I've found that 3 is my limit, and after the 3rd I'm like full, exhausted, like honestly, like I just want to focus on editing and like not taking another photo, and so I try to limit it to 3, but some days it's none, some days it's 1 or 2. It just depends.
And when you go to these restaurants, like I imagine that they want to shower you with
Yeah.
everything because they want
Yeah.
that post to be so good. Like there has to be a point where you're like, guys, please stop. Like I feel
yeah.
guilty
and
or
I've
something.
I've had to say like, thank you so much. Like it's amazing, but like no more dishes. Like I'll
Yeah.
come back. Like I'm happy to come back for today.
But because in your position, you essentially are the top food blogger in DC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I right or wrong?
To my knowledge, I think, yeah.
I can't name anyone else.
Yeah.
In
Not that there's a ton of other great people.
so
doing
it's like
cool
when
stuff,
you
but-
go in that restaurant and like you sit at that table that looks probably just like this, and they see that you're there, like I feel like it changes the tone, and I've noticed that even when we talk to the guy at the restaurant here,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, I'm gonna come by sometime. He's like, nah, let me know when you come by.
Yeah.
I'm gonna host you.
Yeah,
And I was
they
just like, whoa.
Yeah, they want to like take control of the situation and like make sure the chefs are plating everything perfectly and putting me at the table with the best lighting and like all that. So I've learned that, and like I've shown up places just like incognito, and then like that ends up happening. So now I just like try to set stuff up ahead of time. I'm like, I'm coming in, like if you want to comp a couple dishes, I'll take some photos. Like these are the couple dishes that look good, whatever, and like figure that all out ahead of time, and it's a lot easier.
Yeah, there's some dishes that don't look like lasagna. Never looks good.
Yeah, like things that like don't have a lot of color or dimension or sort of interest
Uh-huh.
are hard.
Dude.
And I've learned like I used to always ask the waitress like what's the prettiest dish, and I've learned that like what pretty means to them is not necessarily what like resonates with my following. So now I'll like be more specific.
Mm-hmm.
They'll always recommend like a fish dish or a salad or like something that's pretty, and that's like
That's like healthy pretty.
Yeah,
That's not,
I meant like
that's
what's
not,
like decadent, what's like food porn, what's over the top. So
what do you classify as food porn?
I mean, obviously it's the super like overindulgent stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's also just like food that makes you sort of have a reaction. So like for some people that's sushi, for some people that's cheese. Like it really just depends. But
I mean, when you posted those glistening fries today, I was like,
Yeah,
I was
like
like,
for me, like I'd rather eat French fries than like something super cheesy or sweet. It's just like my personal preference. So I think it's different for everybody.
it's got to be different for everyone. I mean, so when you go to these restaurants and the chef is just having a heart attack, he's like, oh my god, was influential food bloggers, and like, describe that experience. Like, that's got to be pretty interesting. Like,
Yeah.
It's
And I mean, I try to like we were talking about earlier, like it's hard to convey all that I do and like share that with people. Like I try to post the behind the scenes on my stories and like me standing on chairs and me like going out in the 20-degree weather to get the photo. Like there's a lot of like stuff that goes into like getting that shot, and I think chefs have come a long way. Like they used to be sort of annoyed, I think, that like people are not eating the food right when it's hot, when they're like wasting time taking photos.
Oh yeah, why are you being so
disrupting other guests and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, and now it's become like the chefs will be like, oh, like let me hold that light for you, like let me do this.
You
like,
roll up with a light?
I use my phone. Like
Okay.
if I'm in a dark restaurant, I'll use the flashlight on my phone and I shoot with a camera.
Oh, so you shoot with like a DSLR camera?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's a mirrorless Sony, but
okay,
same
whatever.
thing.
Same thing. Yeah, a professional grade camera.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the stuff I do is still iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the video is still iPhone, but for the most part, it's camera.
Yeah, because the chef realizes that like you talking good about the restaurant could equate to
Yeah.
tons of money coming through the door.
Yeah, it's business, and I understand that too. Like I try to convey what they're doing in the best way possible, and like I want people to come in because they see my posts. They want people to come in, so it's kind of like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and when is it always just? Well, I guess you kind of say like it's a lot of people. You'll give it to someone. It's not just like sending it back. You're
it's
just
not
like
always
someone's going to
just
eat
me.
it.
Like if I can bring along like food blogger friends or just regular friends or family or like whoever, I'd always rather have more people there. It's a lot more fun for me than sitting down alone at a table and shooting. And
it almost looks like that sometimes. Like it almost looks like it's just you and this giant table of food, but like it's almost comforting to know that there's tons of people about to eat this food.
Yeah, exactly. And if you ever see a photo of me with like a spread of food, that means somebody else was there to actually take that photo. So like if you're seeing that usually means I'm not necessarily the only one there. But it can be lonely. I mean, like what I do, I try to shoot in the daylight because it's honestly a lot better for photos. And so
natural light's best.
A lot of what I'm doing is while other people are working, and so it's hard to necessarily find people that want to like come shoot and
hit me up.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, anytime. And then by the time it's like nighttime, people want to go out and eat. I'm exhausted and I'm like ready to get in bed and like watch Netflix. So
yeah, you're done. You're like,
I'm like I've been to 4 restaurants today. Like I'd love to meet you for dinner, but like I can't. Like I'm exhausted. So
you're like, no, I do dinner for a living. I don't want to go there and
Let's
cause a scene.
Yeah.
Like, does that happen? Like, do you ever just show up to a place and people just know who you are? Is that kind of how it's gotten to at this point?
Especially recently, yeah.
Really?
So I mean, for years, like I didn't post a single photo of myself. I didn't do any of that, and so that never happened. And I think over the last like year and a half, I've started to like put more of myself into the brand because I think that is sort of an element that people want to see.
100%.
And an element that I want to share. Like at this point, like
and it definitely messes with people that you're like so skinny too.
Yeah, literally.
I know you realize that.
The first question I get asked is, "How are you so thin?" And a lot of it's just.
I literally led with that one. I'm a douchebag.
It's literally one of the first questions I get asked, and it's just like genetics.
You're like, I'm not a fat ass, guys.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, a lot of my like food blogger friends are very fit, and like
I've noticed that
when you are around food all day, you learn that like there will be another meal. So like you don't have to like stuff your face every single time you're sitting down, and so it's just like figuring out not wasting food. But
no, but you're saying that it's become a problem that now everyone knows. What you look like.
I mean, I'll go. Like there are certain places, especially like overly crowded places, like if I go to the mall or if I go to Union Market or like places like that where it's like a lot more likely that someone will like run into me and say hi. But when I'm in a restaurant and I'm trying to just like have dinner with my family or like dinner with my grandma or whatever, and like the waitress will realize or the chef will come out and like send food and like.
Oh, you kind of know at that point. You're kind of
I can tell, and it's cool. It's like very cool that like people notice me and want to like give me stuff and all that. But like sometimes I don't bring my camera and I just want to like sit down and have a meal and like be a normal person.
Did you kind of think that would happen? Like you kind of become like a local celebrity like that?
Honestly, no. I like never expected that. But it's been. I mean, it's cool. It's very cool. But I'm also like shy and like.
You like it though?
Depends.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the situation. Like if I'm doing a food thing or I'm like in that like in my work element, like it's awesome. And then there's moments where I'll like be in a doctor's office, or I'll be like with family, or like doing something where it's just like I want to just like not.
You're trying to chill.
Yeah, and then it can be like a little weird, but I'm still like always like encouraging people to say hi, because like it's cool to meet my audience.
100%.
I think it's something that a lot of bloggers and Instagram people don't get to do because their audience is like all over the place. But luckily, like mine is very DC focused, so it's cool to like have that opportunity to like meet a lot of people that.
It is interesting that it is so DC focused as opposed to being so broad.
Yeah,
But I feel like that's kind of a good thing. Like
it is, and I think my brand has like changed a lot over the years. So like when I travel, I post from other cities, and if I'm doing something
that hasn't been a problem. The fact that it says DC, people just not think about it.
It's sometimes is an issue, and I've learned to be more clear. It's not an issue that people don't want to see it. It's just that they get frustrated when they think it's in DC, and then they realize they can't necessarily have that right now.
Oh, like your audience. Okay.
So I just try to be more obvious about, like, with the caption, like, I'm in Boca right now and eating this awesome poke or whatever. Like, I posted something like that the other day. And I think as long as people, like, know that, like, oh, I'm going to add that to my list for next time I'm in Florida, or next time I'm in California, or wherever I am, like, they've become okay with the traveling. But my audience is, like, maybe max 50% DC, like, maybe not even. So there are a lot of people.
That's good then. Yeah, if it was like 90% DC, then you're so kind of stuck in a weird way.
And it was when I first started, but like as I've grown, there's just so many people. There's only so many people in DC that like are following food and that like have come across me, and so that audience is growing in other places.
I mean, you're probably like one of the. You're probably highly recommended for someone who like puts their location as DC or something. Like, oh
yeah. Okay. So like I'm sure I show up like high on the hashtags and the locations and all that kind of stuff, and like brands are able to find me really easily for DC related like projects. But like if I have like a video that ends up on the Explore page, like it could be seen by people in LA, India, like anywhere.
Does that happen to you a lot? You end up on the Explore page?
More so with videos than photos for whatever reason. Like Instagram's algorithm picks up the videos, and like I can see all this
love video
analytics, so I can see like how many people came from like their homepage versus the Explore page versus like hashtags, any of that kind of stuff. So I was a marketing and finance major, so I study all that.
I was about to
stuff.
say, you said you went to school for business, and I guess market finance, like, wow, that's really got to help you.
Yeah, so I like understand that those analytics are not just like to boost my ego, but they're actually like really valuable information. And so I use that to like figure out.
Yeah, you're going to fuck someone up. They're going to go to school for business and marketing finance just to become a food blogger.
And I think it's tough. Like I get asked that a lot. Like, how can I do what you do? And like, I don't really know what to say because I didn't start this trying to do this. So it like,
that wasn't your intention.
For me, it was just kind of like it happened, and I was like following my passion and doing what I was doing.
So is your passion food?
I think my passion is like, I am passionate about food, like that's for sure. But I think my passion is more so like creating, and like I've always been like into art and into like I was in AP art in high school. I used to paint, I used to draw, like all that kind of stuff. I think I've always looked for like a creative outlet, and so when I was studying business, I was like, I need to do something that's not numbers and not boring. So I started taking photos, and that's just how that happened. But
I mean, I imagine there has to be some like deep appreciation for food.
Absolutely. I mean, level. I grew up. So actually, when I was a kid, I was very picky. Like,
you were like a grilled cheese kid who only
picky,
like
chicken tenders or like chicken tenders and French fries, like or nothing until I was like 4 years old.
That's a picky kid food.
And then for somehow my parents like tricked me out of that stage and went from eating chicken tenders to eating like lobster and clams and like steak and like just totally having like a palate for interesting food.
And you're not vegan, hallelujah.
Yeah, not vegan.
That'd be a tough gig if you're vegan.
I am lactose intolerant, so like I try to avoid dairy when I can.
Wait, so you're telling me all those melty, drippy cheeses is just for the cam?
A lot of it, yeah. I really enjoy photographing cheese and things with movement, so like chocolate drips and ice cream melting and all that kind of stuff. And I think over the years, like it used to be I was posting only what I was eating, and now it's a combination of what I'm eating, what the person sitting next to me ate. Like just because I posted doesn't mean it was eaten by someone, and I know that it tasted good because somebody I trusted ate that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I devoured that entire thing.
Yeah, it's kind of not think about it. It's kind of a weird expectation for people to assume that you need to eat it,
right? And I think it's tricky because people do go to places that I post about for like with the intent of eating what I'm posting. So I want to make sure that it's been tried and sort of made sure that it's good.
But
at the same time, like I value health and I value like whatever. And if I'm eating 4 or 5 places a day, it's like there's only so much I can eat while still trying to create enough content for my page. So
yeah, it's got to go somewhere.
it's tricky. Yeah.
But my thing is that, is there ever a time when you're at a restaurant and you're like, I would not recommend this? Like,
yeah, and it gets tricky.
Yeah.
I think I try not to post stuff that's bad. I mean, that first and foremost, like if something's bad, I'm obviously not going to post it.
Well, I mean, I imagine it has to be a moment where they've paid you.
Yeah.
And you get there and you're like, shit.
Yeah. So a lot of the paid stuff that I do is with brands and not restaurants specifically. So that does make it easier to not be too biased. But some of the restaurant stuff is paid. A lot of it's comped. So like at least the food's free. And in that case, I'll like make sure I'm not posting that dish that I didn't like.
That's true. That's probably the nice
So like
thing
I'll
to
go
do.
a lot of places and I'm like those 3 dishes were amazing. Like that one thing I wouldn't recommend, and I'll just like make sure not to put that on my story or like.
You just won't put it as opposed to just saying
I try
it.
and it's hard.
It's kind of crazy to think that you legit could like ruin a restaurant. Has it ever crossed your mind? Like if you said that a place was bad, that could have a huge impact.
It has, and I think it's
You've done
not.
that?
It's not. No, I think it can.
Oh.
It's not in my nature to want to like do that.
Yeah.
I think if I don't have a good experience, I just won't post about it. If it was a comp meal, I'll like write the restaurant and be like, I appreciate like you comping my meal. Like my experience wasn't that great. I'm happy to like pay for it, but it's not something I'm looking to like put on my page. Like I would do that before I would bash a restaurant.
That's smart, man.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do. It's nice.
It's just,
personal
yeah,
to
it's
do.
not, I think DC is a small community, and I think if restaurants were worried about me putting negative things out there, it'd be a lot harder.
You wouldn't want that vibe. You wouldn't want
Yeah,
that vibe where
I
like
try to
the
avoid
chef
negative-
has to feel like paranoid that
Right.
you're going to write some review or some
Right.
caption that's just like, it was undercooked
Right.
and it was, you know, like.
So I've just like, I do my research.
that's not good energy.
I absolutely do my research before I go places. So like if I've heard bad things, I'll go somewhere and I'll try it, and I won't like set it up through the restaurant so that I'm not obligated to post anything. So like most of the places that I'm posting, I have sort of figured out if it's somewhere I want to post about,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I'll go and I'll like, there's usually 1 or 2 dishes that I'm interested in. I think it's just easier than like, I don't know, tearing down a restaurant because
No one wants to
of
do
one
that.
bad day. Like,
No.
yeah.
I mean, I've seen way too many food shows where they're talking about the reviews and the critics and like
Right.
just how they got torn down. I'm like, God,
And there's a
that's
place like there's food critics in this area, and I think they do a great job. But like that's
I bet
not,
you probably know them all too, right?
not really. I mean, I feel like the social media world and then like the sort of typical media world are like together, but also pretty separate.
Yeah.
And I like keep to myself for the most part.
I bet you they all wish they had you doing what you're doing. Like, I bet they all wish that shit.
I don't know. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? They have to be some like pretentious people to like sneak into a restaurant and hope that no one
Yeah.
knows who they are, which most people probably don't.
Yeah.
And then they write for maybe the Post, which is actually pretty good writing, or whatever, or their blog, or whatever
Right.
it is. And then they. What's up? That's random.
That is very random.
I haven't seen her in forever. Oh my god, crazy Ukrainian people.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, what were we talking about? Food
Something
critics.
about food. Oh yeah,
food critics.
no, food critics. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, I
it's-
think-
I don't know. It just seems like they wish they could do what you're doing because I don't know. It's like friendlier and they get the visibility, and essentially it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want the one that gets you Instagram followers?
Right. It's true. And I think it would depend. Like if they're like a lot of what I do is sort of like very photography focused and like on like the artistic stuff. And so if they're like, that's not their thing, maybe not. But I agree. There's a lot of pressure on being a critic because when you come out with that like
Like that's
rating or
nice.
that
Like, you
number,
don't even gotta worry
like,
about the critic part. Like your writings are just like captions or tagging someone.
yeah, I try. Like at the end of the day, like I don't say anywhere that I'm like a review site or that I'm like I don't know. Like I'm not giving ratings to places. It's not what I do. It's I go out, I eat a lot, I share it, and if you want to go to these same places, that's awesome. But like I'm not gonna like give specific ratings because it's just I don't know.
So in a week's time, you said literally every day you'll go to like 3 restaurants.
No, I think when I travel, I definitely do that. But when I'm here, I'd say I take like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, where I like do restaurants and go to like 3 or 4 a day, and then I'll take days off and like obviously I eat lunch and dinner and normal meals. But like I'll focus on dealing with emails, dealing with like setting up contracts, and
That's a lot of the background stuff that people don't see is
yeah,
your emails probably got to be insane.
it's insane. I'm really bad about staying on top of it just because I get so many. Like, you were smart to reach out to my other page.
Yeah,
'Cause
I kind of figured that would be the smarter move.
Yeah, and I don't check it that often, but when I do, like, I don't get that many DMs compared to DC Food Porn, so it's easy to find things. But the most effective way to reach me is probably like DMing me on both accounts and emailing me, because like,
You should not have told him that.
I know, but honestly, it's nice. Like, I want people to get in touch with me, but like, there are days where I get like,
But it's hard. It's
tons of emails, and I
yeah.
just can't get to all of them. Yeah,
But it's like for that food experience to happen, you have to. It's like the email, then the setup, then the contract and stuff like
a
that.
lot.
Like what kind of stuff goes into a contract? That is it like?
that's only with like paid branded posts.
Okay.
And then just in terms of what goes into it, it's like exclusivity terms and dates and hashtags and like all those requirements, FTC requirements to like say that it's sponsored or ad or whatever.
What kind of requirements like are there? Like you're getting paid for like the hashtag or like I'm kind of like so lost in that world.
Yeah, it depends. So like I work with brands in like sort of the product space and in the service space. So like let's say a brand has a new drink and they want to pay me to promote it. So like they'll send me the product. We'll like come up with like a number that makes sense and all the terms and the hashtags they want to use and all that kind of stuff. Like whatever the story is they're trying to tell. And then at that point they'll like let me do my thing, and maybe I'll like pair it with food, or maybe it'll be a shot of me with the product or whatever.
But you have like free control over how that kind of happens.
It's not always the case, but I fight for that just because I think it's best for everybody. Like if I can do it, I do. Like I do this every day. So.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot from my blogger friends and bloggers I've interviewed. It's sorry, not that you're a blogger, but like influencers,
same thing.
Influencers,
Yeah.
that they always try to have some control over it, and it's like, why are you hiring me?
They do.
Then?
I mean, I get it. Like brands are paying like thousands of dollars to do something, and they want to have control over it. Like I would be the same way if I was in their shoes, but try to explain to them. I'm always like, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? And then like, let me accomplish that for you in like the way that I do it.
In my
do.
voice, like
Yeah.
whatever your brand mission is, let me do it. I promise you it won't be bad.
Right.
Like,
And like, I'm happy to like send it over for approval if you want to like see it before it goes live, but like, let me like have control over how I word the caption and how I like take the photos and all that. And it ends up always working out better when that happens versus when they're like, they'll be like, send us 5 images, we'll pick our favorite and we'll like come up with a caption. And I'm like, we can do that, but like, just trust me, it's not gonna.
you don't want them to
gonna
come for
work.
that caption because your audience is gonna know.
Yeah.
Your audience is gonna be like, this isn't you.
I'm like, give me
Justin.
some bullet points of like things that you want included. Give me hashtags. Like that's fine. Like I want to make sure I'm touching on all the things that you want, but yeah, let me like put it in my own voice.
God.
But yeah, for like restaurant stuff, there's no contract. There's no. It's an email, and it's like we'd love to have you in. Like, tell us what time. And
Yeah, I imagine
that.
it's balls completely in your court when they're just like, okay, we're gonna.
Yeah,
just treat you.
it's super casual. It's like not. It's usually not even. Like I try to keep it like I'd love to come in exchange for like social media coverage, and like not be specific about like.
I imagine you.
How I'm posting. Where
I imagine
posting,
you did
like,
it to like some nice places. Like I saw you were at Blue Duck. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
this
like
man over here at Blue Duck Tavern. And I was like, that was Obama's joint. Like,
And yeah, if I have a great
Yeah.
experience, like I'm gonna post about that multiple times. Or I'm gonna put it on my story and I'm gonna post about it. And like I like to have the flexibility to.
have you been into the Little Inn yet? Since it's got its 3 Michelin star.
No, but I am dying to go.
I imagine you're dying to get
Yeah.
there. Is that hard for you to get for you to get into?
Probably. I mean, I think it would depend. Like there are places like Blue Duck who's very like open to those types of partnerships. 'Cause,
Probably
like,
social media savvy.
They
I guess.
understand, yeah. And then there's places like in Little Washington that's like been around forever, and it's like they don't probably feel like they need social media because like they were successful before it.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, who?
But I've never tried, so like it's possible. Like I don't know.
Dang.
Either way, I'd love to eat there, even if it means I have to pay for it. But
So when are you gonna write a book that's like DC Food Porn's guide to DC?
I've thought about it.
I imagine that's had to been a thought. I don't know why that just popped into my mind. I was like, there has to be a book, like the Michelin
Yeah,
Guide,
yeah.
the DC Food Porn Guide. There's no way that's not
Trust
a book.
me, I've thought about all the different books and ebooks and like what's that next thing that I can put out there, and
That sounds like a lot of work too.
it's a lot of work and I feel like it's a lot of pressure. It's like the whole reason I didn't get into
Being a food critic.
reviews and being a critic is like haven't necessarily been to every single place in DC, so like who am I to like select the best? But at the same time, I don't know. If I did it, I'd keep it super casual and just be like, here are some of my favorite like spots.
I
Doesn't
think
mean
that'd probably like the best way to go about it, as opposed to being like ranking it and being like,
yeah, like that's
like,
just not my style, and I'm like very indecisive. So like even like if anyone's DM me asking for recommendations, they'll be like, "What's like your top like 1 or 2 places?" And I'll send them 20 because like I honestly is just like the pressure of like making that decision for them is too much. So I'm like, here's this if you want Asian food. Here's this if you want like.
do you
French
have like
food.
a top few places in DC?
I have it like up in my mind. I don't like have a list that because it's changing.
Okay, well, like right now, I'm just curious if anything comes to mind. No pressure. I'm
Yeah.
seriously curious because
no, I mean I
there's-
have some favorites.
Yeah.
I love Asian food, so like I go to Tiger Fork all the time. Like if you follow me, you've definitely seen them on there. They have like the best fried rice. Little Sero is like northern Thai food. It's really spicy and like fixed meal. Like fixed price, like $49 for like 8 courses or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Don't quote me on that. Like I don't know if that's right.
Something
but
around there. You don't know.
something like that,
You don't
yeah.
pay for that shit.
yeah, and I just look for like cool experiences like that, and so Union Market I love. It's just like fun.
Union Market, like the whole, I love everything that they're doing there.
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend have this joke how we just always end up at Union Market.
Yeah, it's like literally just always a good time.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I enjoy it.
I think it depends. Like if you go on a day where the weather's nice and like
it's a dream.
people are there and like it's great.
It's really
But
good.
if you're just trying to like pop in and get a thing to eat, it's like it's pain.
Have you been to Moss area there?
I have not, but I've heard.
Oh, we
it's
kind of
great.
stumbled into it. We thought it was like a we didn't know what it was. We just kind of opened the door and we're like, oh, we're in a really fancy Italian restaurant.
Yeah. Did you eat there?
No, we didn't. We were not ready. We were
Yeah.
like, we were about to go see like a movie or something, right? At the movie pop up, and then we like
Yeah,
walked in, like, oh, it's a coursed menu.
Oh, yeah, it's-
really
it's
expensive place
fancy.
where they cook right in front of you. I was
For
like,
sure.
we were not ready for that.
But I've heard it's like incredible. Mm-hmm. I'm like very set in my ways. Like I have like my couple favorite spots, and I like continue to go back to them. And I have to like push myself to like go try new places. And that's like one of those ones that's just on my list that I got to do.
I guess it's different if it's, I don't know. If you want to go to a new spot, you could just reach out and be like, I'm coming. Like, I'm coming.
Right.
Like,
And
hook it up. Like,
and I'm always like a last minute kind of person. Like I don't necessarily like to schedule my like life 2 weeks in advance. So it's sometimes I'll like just stumble in somewhere and I'll like pay for it because it's easier than like trying to like figure out who the media contact is and setting up a time. And,
that's
like,
got to be a pain in the butt.
and then they'll be like, oh, like we want you to come in, but our chef's not in today. So like let's do it this day. And it's just it's a lot.
Were you a fan of Anthony Bourdain at all?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't like a religious watcher of his show, but I think he's like an awesome guy. He did a lot of really cool things.
Yeah, I was just curious if maybe that was like an influence at all. Like maybe like you and your, like I know when I was
Yeah,
growing up,
I know.
you seem like we're around the same age. Like when I was growing up, I would just watch that on TV and I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
Oh, I mean, I watch all the food shows. I watch Food Network. Like I love that stuff. But I think honestly, like my biggest thing growing up was just like eating out with my family. Like that was just like really big for us. Like we always loved food. We always spent a lot of time together. Like every Sunday night, my grandpa like had us all over and cooked dinner, like all that kind of stuff. So I think that was more my inspiration into like becoming a foodie than like any of the other.
Yeah, you were in it
stuff.
for like the good reasons, the family value
Yeah.
of getting together at a table and
Yeah.
enjoying each other's company, and
I've just always felt that like food brings people together, and it's like
100%.
it's cool to see that like even like like my comment section, some of it's stuff like directed at me, but like most of it is people like tagging their friends and having conversations, and like
That's true.
it's like become a community, like, and it's very cool.
Yeah, people just, oh shoot, all right, let's go at blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's what makes food good, because it's probably the one thing that universally everyone has to do and needs to do,
Yeah.
and then it's the one thing that everyone could meet halfway and be like, okay, we could grab food
Right,
together.
and everybody loves it, so it just works.
It's like you've picked literally you're doing like the one thing that everyone needs to do.
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily do that intentionally. Like I said, I didn't do this to like grow an account, but like looking back, I'm like I got lucky because like everybody has to eat, so
I mean, timing and luck is a little bit of everything, man.
it is.
You know,
Absolutely.
God forbid you decided to pick the wrong name or something, and then
Right.
it was just like, it's good, but his name's kind of weak.
Right.
You
And
know,
I
like,
think like all that stuff goes into like whether or not people decide to follow you. So,
Mm-hmm.
and even like if people, like I think DC Food Porn's just like a memorable name. So like people will be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Like even
it's
if
so
they don't follow
catchy.
me,
It's
yeah.
the best branding ever. Your business side was spot on.
Thank you. And like again, like it wasn't luck, but it was like
So what's
it's kind of going with like
is
what
there
felt right.
like a hard part or like a stressful part that maybe people just like don't realize or don't see about what you do?
I think it's all stressful. Like, I put a lot of pressure on myself. So,
Yeah.
I mean, people see, like, when I post, they're like, oh, you got, like, a ton of likes and comments and, like, all
Or you're
that.
successful, and successful people, they always have a pressure on themselves,
Yeah,
too.
like, I mean, I appreciate that I'm successful and, like, I'm so happy with, like, everything that's going on. But I'm always like, oh, I wish I could be doing
Never
this. Or I wish I
satisfied.
had this and that. And so I think it's a good balance of, like, being happy with what I have, but also, like, not getting too comfortable, trying to push myself.
Is there something like you're trying to push for right now? Like that's kind of changing in like you're kind of in your 5th years or something where you're kind of like, oh, I'm taking
Yeah,
it.
I mean, obviously, like, my number one goal always is, like, growth and engagement and, like, all of the social media stuff. But trying to figure out, like, what that next step is. Like, how can I take it beyond social media and, like, what else can I be doing? Whether it's events or products or
That's really interesting.
a
'Cause
book. Like,
was it American Meme that got you thinking like that?
it's a lot of different things. It's
Okay.
it's documentaries and podcasts and things like that, but it's also just like everybody asks me like, what are you gonna do when Instagram's not around? And like it's
That's gotta mess with you a little bit, right?
it does. And then like I mean that one day when Instagram like stopped working, like that was like frustrating, but I've come to realize that if it's
The
not
great Instagram collapse.
yeah, I mean if
Yeah.
it's not Instagram, it'll be something, and I think I've built an audience and a brand that like hopefully will follow me to whatever's next.
But I understand
So.
what you're saying, like making like a physical product that's
Yeah.
not just like a brand or like it's expanding it business financially in a
Right.
way where, you know, food porn like the book, but that's a lot of work, or the hoodie or the shirt or the merch or
Right.
something like that.
And I have merch and I have
Oh, you
editing
do?
presets and I have all that kind of stuff.
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
But I'm still looking for that like one thing that
Like something
like
big.
I get
sort
really
of thing?
excited about.
Yeah, like a project or
like a book
something?
sounds cool, but I'm just not sure it's like the thing I'm most
What about
passionate
what about the? I don't know why I keep saying book. My fault. Maybe
no,
like
I've because I've thought about books a lot, and I think it's something that it is a logical next step.
what about like a food event? Like you,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense because people love events.
Yeah.
people love you. People love DC food, especially people in DC.
Yeah,
Like
and that's something I've thought about a ton. My issue with events is I've been part of events, and it's a lot. Like, there's always stuff that goes wrong. Like, it's always more expensive than you realize, and it's like it's a
Hell
huge
yeah.
headache. But it's also like on that day of the event, like it all comes together, and it's like the best feeling. So
the DC food porn dinner party,
yeah,
where like you just go to a
something
restaurant you
small,
love
yeah.
and it's small. People pay to be a part of,
Yeah.
or like that sounds really fun.
And
actually.
so I mean, these are all. This is my problem. Like my brain just goes.
You could- the
goes,
thing
and,
is, like,
I've had all these ideas.
yeah, I
and
know that you have-
I'm like I don't know which one to follow through with. So
it's one of those things that's just like a natural thing. You can't force.
Yeah.
I feel like with something like that.
yeah. And so I've just tried to like say yes to all the opportunities that come my way.
How annoying are people that have ideas for you? I imagine
don't-
that people that know you, they're probably always trying to put something in your ear.
Yeah, and
that's
I
gotta
think
be
there's
annoying.
a difference between like I appreciate ideas. There are the people that are like, this is what you have to do, or like you're failing, and like that can get annoying. But I'm always open to ideas. Like I know that like I didn't get where I am today, like only listening to myself. So like
Yeah,
I'm
it just
happy
feels like
to-
there's always like somebody being like, you should do this, like you should. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
like they know what's better for you.
But they might
Sure.
like so, or
Makes
it
it
might
valid.
like spark something in me that like I didn't think of. So
Never
I'm
know.
open to it. Yeah, I'm not like I don't want to hear what you have to say because that's I don't know. It's just not the way to grow.
How do you deal with Clout Munchers?
Huh?
Clout Munchers. How do you deal with those?
I don't know.
Is it obvious?
Like sometimes, but
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like it.
Is it? I mean, is that like a thing that's even on your conscience? Like people trying to get close to you because of what you do?
It is, but I'm also like very aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
and like I see through it. And there are relationships where it's like, are we like friends outside of this? Probably not. But like it can still be mutually beneficial to like grab food and like promote each other and like things like that. So I'm okay with it as long as people are like, I don't know, as long as it doesn't get too annoying.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can see through it.
Like there's an acceptable level of it, and
Yeah,
then,
like I'm totally fine to like collaborate and like do cool things and all that, but like when people like pretend like it's like they're your best friend when they're not, like things like that, it can get annoying. But
I imagine
It's
it's gotta
normal.
get. I
Like-
imagine it's gotta get annoying for it to get. I mean, dang, I don't want to go there, but like, does that really ever bother you at all?
honestly, no. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like if people want to meet up, whether like no matter what their intentions are, like I'm happy to do it. See how it goes. Like if we get along, like great, we can become friends. If not, like because we had a good lunch.
We were talking about earlier having a drink, like waiting for all this stuff, and like it was cool to hear that you said that you have like some good friends, the sensible stylista girl and all them. I'm like that's good because I feel like sometimes when you see people on social who are doing big things, it can be very lonely, especially when you're trying to run a business by yourself. That in itself can be very lonely. And so I was just like, I wasn't really trying to ask that, but when I thought about it, it's like, dang, it's like
it can definitely get lonely. And I have my family in town, which is great. Like I spend a ton of time with them. I do a lot of like trips with other people doing what I'm doing in other cities, and that is great. Like some of my best friends like are bloggers that I've met through this, and
oh nice.
We talk every day. Like we give each other ideas. We plan trips together, like all that kind of stuff, and it's just cool to like have that because like not a lot of people understand what I do, and
it's so new that anyone over the age of like 40 is just bewildered, and then when you tell them you make more than they do, they're probably like what?
Yeah, I'll have a lot of people like make jokes about like, oh that's great, but like you probably aren't making any money, whatever. And it's like, it's cool to like be able to actually like support myself doing this.
I don't ever ask for money, but do you clear six figures?
Yes.
Fuck you. Fuck you. But that's awesome, dude. Congratulations.
But
dude.
that's
that is
been a
awesome.
process.
No, you've earned it.
Thank you.
You've earned it 100%.
It took time to get to that. And like as you can imagine, like every month is different. Like the income varies so much.
Yeah.
But I've had to figure out ways to like account for that and like have steady income and have big projects that come along. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm just about 2 years out of school. So like year one was a lot of figuring my shit out and like how can I do what I was doing for fun and do it as a career without like changing my content.
So like your last year in school, was it really getting like critical mass right there?
So actually I had AP credits and I took like 2 summer like online classes to be able to like be a part-time student senior year.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was only taking like 2 or 3 classes a semester. And at that point I was like literally never on campus unless I was in class. I was at events, meetings, like, so I started making money and like setting myself up to do this full time senior year so that like when graduation day hit, I wasn't
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Like graduation, I'm not going to school for that.
Yeah,
I'm not working in that field. Like.
Yeah, no, and I worked hard like up until the end. Like it's the way I am. But like it was nice to like know like I'm not applying for jobs. I'm working for myself. Like setting myself up for that, not at the end, but like beginning of senior year, I think relieved a lot of my stress.
Dude, how old are you?
24.
Dang, I'm 28. You're not my age. But we're in our 20s. Hey. Okay, cool. I was just curious. Are you Italian?
No.
Oh.
But, well, a little bit on my grandfather's side.
What do you identify as?
I don't know. I mean, I'm like a whole mix of things. I'm part Jewish. I'm part Catholic.
Okay.
Italian, German, like a little bit of everything, but...
I was just curious. I would have guessed Italian.
I get that a lot. Like when I did a like 2 weeks study abroad program in Italy, and like everybody was talking to me in Italian, and I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, even if I look like I like belong here, I don't.
You're like, oh, see,
yeah,
like,
So that was interesting.
That's gotta be. That's pretty fun. Dang, man. Like, what's new for you? Like, what has been exciting you recently with what you're doing?
I think. I don't know. I'm always looking to like do more. So like obviously like keep doing the food porn thing and keep doing what I'm doing, but like figuring out like ways to play with editing and like video, and like I posted my first IGTV a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
And like just like messing around with like how can I do more within like the realm.
Do you want to make
do.
video content?
Yes and no. I'm like learning to become more comfortable on camera, but like that was definitely like an adjustment thing for me.
That was never the intention.
Yeah, and like even like talking to like the screen on my stories, like that's something that I hated doing.
Dude, what do you mean? You're a good-looking dude, man. What else could you ask for?
It's
man?
just like
you're leading with
thank
that.
you. It's just like awkward for me, but like I've like just learned that it's what you do if you're like a social media person. You just gotta like do it.
You just become numb to it, man.
Yeah,
you just become so numb to it.
I'm trying, but
slowly trying to become numb.
So just like honestly, like I'm excited about like pushing myself out of my comfort zone, just like doing more stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you said you travel a lot. That's got to be a...
Yeah, a lot of it's like within the U.S., which makes it a lot easier. I did like one trip to Hong Kong last year, which was like so much fun.
That's crazy
but, like,
awesome.
A whole nother level of like jet lag and like planning and like all that kind of stuff, like dealing with the time difference, trying to post, and like it's a lot. But it was like literally best trip. I do a lot of Florida, New York, like East Coast kind of travel because it's easy.
Yeah, New York's gotta be crazy, man.
New York, yeah, a lot of my audience is in New York as well, so like that's nice. Like I can collaborate with restaurants, hotels, like all that kind of stuff. And the Amtrak, like, so easy.
You probably collaborate with them too.
I know, I need to.
I saw you collab with like a credit card company, and I was just like, wow, that is slick. You just like put it in ice cream. I was like,
that was Capital One. I do a lot of work with them.
Like, that's creative as hell.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not food, but it somehow worked out.
No, I mean, I think it's important to like, if you're doing this as a business, like how can you expand what makes sense with your brand? So like, you need a credit card to like pay for food and like pay for experiences and entertainment and like even getting into like hotels and travel and like what goes into being like a foodie. And there's more than just food.
Do 100%. Yeah, growing the brand past anything. Like even me, I'm a photographer, but I'm over here trying to do podcasts. I'm trying to do like everything else.
I think it's important to push the boundaries of what like it means to be a photographer or a foodie or whatever it is.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck in it, you know?
It gets boring.
Are there any people doing what you're doing that you kind of look up to? Like, is there someone above you that you're kind of like the OG? Like, is there that person for you?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's one person. I think there's like people I look up to for different things. Like there are people who like their photography is just like spot on, and
like their food photography is just
food or lifestyle or like whatever it is. Like the way they edit, like the way they just like you can tell that that's their photo. Like I think in the whole like influencer space, like everyone's posting the same kind of stuff. So, like you want to get to a point where people like see a photo and they know it's yours. And there's people that like I look up to just because like they've got it figured out with the business stuff or like with how to travel on a budget. Like all these like I think there's like people I look up to for different things.
Okay, I was just curious if there was maybe some like OG food blogger that I just had no idea existed. Someone who was just you've been in the game for 10 years. You were the first person on Instagram.
Yeah, and it's weird because like a lot of those people that like were people I looked up to are like people I'm now friends with, and like I think there's a lot of people, and I don't want to like name names because there's like so many over the years, like so many people I've looked up to that I wouldn't want to like say it's just like one or two people because it's not. I think I've gone through phases where like I wanted to get into video, and so like that person was really like killing it and like was an inspiration for that, and I wanted to get into travel photography, and like this person was doing a good job, and I think it's important to have that. So like I'll get accounts that'll message me and be like you've been such an inspiration with like starting a food account and like all that stuff, and I think that's important to have, to like look up to somebody.
What do you think is I'm kind of curious to answer that question. Like, what do you think someone should do if they did want to start like a food account or like a food blog? Like, what do you think goes? Like, what's your advice on
it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is to be patient because like it's not gonna blow up overnight. Like for anybody, even if I started a new account like today and couldn't use DC Food Porn to promote it, like it'd be hard. But a good name is obviously important.
No underscores, no anything like that.
No, and it's hard to do that because like everything's taken. So I think like maybe using your name with food kind of like gives you more opportunity to like find something unique that might not be taken. But like natural lighting for photography is so important.
It's good.
I think like when I started shooting with a camera, like my content went to another level.
As opposed to just iPhone stuff?
Yeah, and I know people that like do a really good job of that, and it just like wasn't for me.
You just wanted more.
Yeah, I wanted to like I was like working with brands and they're paying me money, and I'm like, I don't want to send them like an iPhone shot. So I could see
that he's like in a weird it's like a backhand. It's like iPhone bitch.
Yeah, and like there are people like I mean this was back when iPhones weren't what they are today. Like iPhone cameras are amazing now, and I know a lot of people that use them and have more followers than I do. So like it works, but I think a camera is an easy way to up your photography and put out better content if you're struggling to do that. Use hashtags, like collaborate with people, like have people that you look up to in terms of like what they're doing and their content, and just like putting out content every day. Like just keep posting, be consistent. And
what's your you probably know this one. What are like the best times to post on Instagram and everything? Like what's the
I think it's different for everybody. I mean my best times tend to be like right around meal times. Of course. Because people are hungry. Like right before meal times. Like 11 o'clock, like right before lunch, I'll post. Like 9 o'clock at night when people are like craving something sweet, I'll usually post like desserts. Right around 5 o'clock when people get out of work, like planning it around like when are people checking their phone and when are they.
But you got to be on like the cutting edge of like Instagram, like techniques or like growth and stuff right now. Is there anything that you've
yes
noticed?
And no. I mean, I think it's different depending on like where you're at. So like it's video is really big right now. Like with the algorithm, I think like I realized that probably later than I should have, that like posting video is crucial to growth. Hashtags are important, but I think you have to like pick and choose the right ones. People will just like throw up random hashtags and it's not really gonna do anything. But if you pick like 5 or 6 that like apply to what you're posting and they're hashtags that people are looking at, like that I think is useful.
Are you checking, like, do you use like any third-party tools to kind of check things?
I don't. I mean, I don't. The main reason I don't do that is because I'm worried about getting hacked and like giving my passwords.
So
and,
true.
Like,
yeah, they always want you to log in.
Yeah, they want you to log in and like all that kind of stuff. It's just like I've heard too many horror stories of like
Don't
people
be that guy.
They get their accounts back, but like lose it for a couple of days. Like that would be like my worst nightmare.
Dang, it is.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it for me to like give up access to see some like extra analytics or things like that.
Yeah, I guess you have enough there.
Yeah, Instagram gives you like some pretty decent analytics and I like notice patterns. So like if I noticed that I started writing like tag taco lover if I was posting tacos, or tag a donut lover if it was donuts or whatever it was, and I started to get more comments. And I noticed that trend of like not telling people, but like giving them permission to do something, like made them more likely to do it.
It only works for you because you got tons of followers, bro. If I ever ask a question, I never get anything. It's crickets. Well, it's like, oh, what does this photo mean to you?
And it's been very like humbling to have my my like Justin M. Schubel like personal account. Like I could ask a question on there and nobody could answer it. And it's like, I'm like, oh shit, like I can't get away with like doing the same things that I can do on DC Food Firm, where it's like if I like ask a question, people are gonna actually answer. And so I think it's like building up to that, but you gotta like give people a reason to engage, because like people don't have to like your photo, they don't have to comment, like they can still like get all that and just look at it and not have to actually give anything back to you. So I always try to like encourage engagement. I respond to comments, like respond to DMs, like all that kind of stuff.
It's super important to just building an audience.
Yeah.
It's just being responsive to anyone that responds to you.
And it's hard. I mean, I think I definitely like I can't say that I get to every DM.
Of course not.
Or every email or every whatever, but like putting the effort into doing that, I think is important.
Dude, nice. So, what's your thoughts on like the DC food scene at this point? Like, what you're more experienced than anyone I know. What's your thoughts?
It's been really cool. Like I said, I grew up around here, and the DC food scene was definitely not what it is today. So it's been really cool to see like Michelin come and to see like
first 3-star Michelin restaurant.
Yeah,
that's
like
crazy.
to see all of that kind of stuff. Like when I was growing up here, like we'd go into DC for like a birthday dinner and go to some like
pull the mic. You can just pull it. Just pull it.
And we'd go to some like fancy like restaurant for dinner, and it'd be a steakhouse or whatever, and it's delicious. But like now we have Ethiopian food, and we have like all these cool like Indian restaurants and like just different cuisines that were here, but like now they've become more well known, and I think the food scene is just like blown up.
I think that's been a big reason why DC has grown so much.
Yeah,
the food scene is just incredible.
DC's
like, that's been
become like a cool place to live, cool place to eat. Like it's a city where I actually now have people where I'm like, I gotta come visit you. Like DC seems awesome. Like you make it look so delicious and fun, and like, and I think it didn't have that reputation like 10 years ago.
I don't want the people like, yo, I'm not going to DC.
Yeah.
I'm going to get robbed.
Like I hate politics. Like, is it even safe? Like, things like that.
So naive.
And all that's still there. Like, DC still has politics. It still has...
That's what it is.
History and museums. And, like, that's awesome. But it's also, like, a metropolitan city with great food and great nightlife and...
Dude, 100%.
All that kind of stuff.
100%. What do you think about, like, the food truck scene? I feel like it's not as big anymore, but it's still sort of there.
I did it a lot more when I was, like... in college and just wandering the streets, and like food trucks would come to campus and things like that. And I think I don't know, I don't do the food truck scene as much as I used to, but it's still there, and I think it's awesome. And it's honestly something I should like start doing more of, because I always got like stressed with like they're always moving around and I never knew where to find them.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of thing. But like the food truck scene I think is very cool.
Food trucks are like hot chicks. You just never know where they are.
Yeah, it's you never know. And
It's like, where the hell are you guys? You got this corner.
It's a lot more effort. Yeah.
Yeah, it's way more effort.
Yeah,
There
find
you
the
go.
food truck. So
Brick and mortar's like the fat chick is just always there. Food truck's like the hot chick is just running around, whatever you're into. You know?
yeah, so it's just I don't know. I don't know that I've been to a DC food truck in a while, but
Yeah, I went to
not
one.
for any good reason.
I went to
other
one
than-
around the block from here like last week when I came in, and I was like surprised. I was like, "Whoa, whole line of food
Yeah.
trucks! I haven't seen this in so long."
And I think there's certain neighborhoods where like there's a ton of office buildings, and it's like that's where they get food, and it just works. So
Yeah, DC food scene, it's pretty crazy.
It is.
I like it a lot.
I love it.
I just hate, they always skew bougie. That's my problem.
yeah, it's
They always
everything's
skew bougie.
because everybody's like fighting for that like Instagram photo and that Instagram moment, and like I think everyone's become expensive and over the top and
Yeah.
trendy, which some people love. Like I think that's cool, especially when like I don't have to pay for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, speak
but,
for yourself, bro.
but yeah, no, I agree. Like it can be hard to find something just like chill.
Yeah, I mean, I get fast casual. I get that.
Yeah.
But it seems like if I want to just go to a restaurant, and not like Ruby Tuesdays, they just go so high end. Like they just go, like they go
Yeah.
like 3-course for 50 or like for like $70.
Well,
Like, something
yeah,
crazy.
and
I'm just
I
like,
think
guys.
that's because of fast casual. It's almost like made it hard for
Oh, I see.
regular casual. Like no one wants to sit down and have an hour-long meal for $15 when they could walk into Kava and have $15 and be in and out in 20 minutes.
I guess that's the thing.
I think we have food trucks, you have fast casual. Like it's become really hard for those kind of restaurants. So now it's like the next level is like an experience, and it's like worth the price, and it's worth all of it. And
Are there any like major problems that you've kind of noticed with just like the food industry, restaurant industry in general? I don't know if it just applies to DC. Like, is there anything like just frustrates you like that happens with restaurants or anything like that? I don't know why. I'm not even going anywhere with that, but I just kind of thought like there has to be something that happens where you're just like, I'm so annoyed right now. Like,
probably, I mean, nothing that I can necessarily
Yeah.
think of. I hate to see the turnover. Like it sucks when there's like somewhere that I loved, and like you walk up one day and it's like there's a sign on the door that it's going away. And
that's a
things
crazy
like that.
feeling, right? You kind of feel so
Yeah,
bad. You think of all
yeah.
the people inside.
And it's a shitty feeling, especially for me. I'm like, if I like, maybe if I had posted about them more, if I like something like, so that's tough.
Justin
but-
out here saving restaurants.
and I know like that's not my responsibility, and like, it's not just me that's like getting people into restaurants, but no, it sucks to see like good places close because of issues with landlords and rent and like whatever it is. So.
Yeah, I haven't. Me and my girl, we were walking down the street to go to this place. She's like, "God, this is great Indian spot." It was
Gone.
empty. It was
Yeah.
just straight up gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
There's a lot of that, and I think.
But the restaurant industry is nuts. There's a lot of turnover.
Yeah, it's just like I think people know it going into.
Have
the
you ever
industry.
worked in the restaurant industry? Mm-mm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Bro, please make that a video where you go and you work as like a server,
That
or
would
you,
be
or
good.
like, or as like a busboy, or
And
like a, or
my,
like a prep
my
chef.
brother and I joke about this a lot because like we like, and this is something that frustrates me. Like sometimes I'll be in a restaurant, and like a waitress or like a server or someone like won't know something that's like something like you'd think they'd know as like a server.
What do you mean, like your bread or your
Like-
napkins or?
Like I was telling you about my friend Eat G Free, and she's gluten free. And you'll like go into a restaurant, and the server like won't really understand what gluten is. And it's like if you're like working in the restaurant industry, like you
Especially
should know.
a good restaurant.
Yeah, like rice is not gluten. Like things that like potatoes are not gluten. Then they'll like make mistakes like that, and
I would
and
make that
it's
mistake. Oh my God. But you should know that if you're in that position.
if you're in the industry, yeah, absolutely. And I would never fault someone who like doesn't have to know that if they don't know that. But like if you're a server and like dealing with allergies and like things like that, so my brother and I always joke that like we'd be so good at like being in the restaurant industry.
Dude,
Like, we know
please.
so much because we eat out all the time and all that kind of stuff. But
That would be so funny if you were serving at a restaurant.
I have
for
a bad
night.
memory though. So like if I was a waiter, like I'd need to write everything down.
That's how when I used to wait for in college. I was like my part-time job. I was a waiter, and I wrote everything down. I was never the memory guy who was just walk up to your table.
Yeah.
That was not me.
Yeah.
I'm just smoke too much weed for that stuff. I just can't
Yeah,
do it.
I
man.
can't. I just like there's like I get to like the third thing in a list, and then it's the rest. I just can't. So,
How
but I
about-
know that about myself.
How about
so
in the
I just-
kitchen? You think you'd do a pretty good job as like a prep chef or something, or like salad chef?
I think I could figure it out. I like follow directions pretty well.
This is like a reality show in the making.
Yeah, I'm actually I like this. This is a good idea.
This is pretty interesting. Like or bartender or something like that.
Yeah, no, I like that.
That'd be actually really funny.
Because I've never actually worked in a restaurant.
Justin, you need to know what it's like,
I
my
know.
man. You
I mean,
gotta
I've
know.
been, like-
You gotta know what it's like to be in the weeds. You haven't been in the weeds.
Oh, I know,
man.
and I'm back in the kitchen all the time and things like that, and I see that it's a lot harder than it looks. But luckily, I've never had to like actually live and breathe that.
Do
so.
chefs? I got this from Bourdain because he was a big inspiration to me growing up. But chefs are pirates, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are just swashbucklers. Like I know.
I don't think people realize like how hot and sweaty it is in the kitchen, and
Yeah.
like the mess and the tight spaces and like all of it.
I think
It's not like the glamour that you see on like Food Network.
Yeah, it's not chef's table all the
Yeah,
time. People
no.
don't realize that
No.
it's not always Adrian Aldria's 20 Michelin star restaurant where it's like a speck is out of place.
Right.
Like most kitchens they're not
Tiny.
disgusting, but they're tiny
And they're hot,
They're
yeah.
hot. They're cramped. Everyone's sweating. No one's wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And the food comes out spectacular.
Yeah, and I think that it's really cool. Like it's fascinating to see that because you don't expect it when you're sitting in a restaurant. But I think it's a lot of something.
That's
a lot
what
of
I
people don't.
appreciate from restaurants. Like when I went to Bad Saint,
Yeah,
I'm sure you've been there.
I have tried to get in a couple of times, and then I haven't been back.
Oh man, well,
But it's like very high on my list. Of,
dude,
like,
it was so hard to get into. We were there 30 minutes early at this bar next to us, and it was 7, and we got online. There's maybe 8 or 9 people in front of us. We're like, oh, we're definitely getting right in.
right.
Not realizing it's tiny.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
super
it's like
tiny.
12 seats.
And then we get there, and they're like, okay, you're going to have to wait 2 hours to even get a seat because you're walking. But then they don't take reservations, yet people already have reservations.
Yeah,
So you're just like,
it's just
you're like, what's going on here?
almost every time that I show up there, because I'm like, I deal with dinner like late. I don't like to eat early unless I'm like shooting and want the light. And so I'll get there like 7:30, and they'll be like, oh, like we're booked for
Oh,
the
it's
rest of the
impossible.
night.
You can't even flex on them?
Yeah.
You can't even flex on them with your set?
I just don't. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not like I'll set up some stuff up in person, but like, I'm not going to ever like
That'd be kind of douchey.
do that in person. Yeah. It's,
Do you know who I am?
yeah, especially
Like-
when it's like clearly it's like 12 seats. They're doing well. Like, to give up money to put me in one of those seats, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say about them was that, like, I love that ambiance, how you can literally see the main chef right there
Right.
making your food.
Right.
I just love that kind of connection. It's just like, oh, it's so sick. Like,
It
I
is,
just
yeah.
literally watched him make that.
I love when like food is an experience and like you get to like see more than like what's on the plate.
You mean like you could see the kitchen and you
See
could
the kitchen
your-
and like just like everything that's happening. I love open kitchens, and I love like when there's like an element of plating that happens like at the table, like if it's like a Peking duck and they carve it at the table and like things like that.
Ooh,
I think
yeah, it's like a show in a
it
way,
adds
right?
to it. Yeah,
Like when they crack the dessert or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Or
Just
like-
falls.
yeah, all of that kind of stuff.
Do you ever? Are there like any restaurants that you are like dying to go to? That's like a bucket list place. Like, I know for me, like El Bulli, obviously, because it's like
Yeah.
the famous place.
There's a lot like French Laundry.
that. Yes, that is a place for me
definitely
too.
on my list.
Eric Repair.
Yeah, like places like that. There's places in DC that I just like haven't been to that like I don't know why.
I'm kind of surprised that you haven't been to places like that. That's just kind of blowing my mind. The fact that you have been to places is just interesting.
Yeah, and I think there's not necessarily a good reason for it. It's just like I haven't
You're doing
scheduled
shit.
it. Yeah, I'm like busy, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it next week or the week after, and it just like never happens. But
Yeah,
I keep a list of like places that I want to get to,
I imagine.
and then I do that, and then like 10 new places open, and I'm like, and one of those closes, and it's like
It's kind of cool that what you're doing. There's never going to be an
Like
end
the
to
limit,
it.
yeah.
There's always someone new opening up, someone
Right.
fresh with a
Right.
new concept and a new idea.
And a lot of what I do is like restaurants will invite me in and be like, we're doing this really cool special this month, and like we're doing this cherry blossom thing, like whatever it is. Even the old places are always innovating, so it's cool.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
sweet, man. Well, sweet man, is there anything that we've kind of missed that you want to talk about, or anything that's on your mind with what you're doing recently, or anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like we touched on a lot of good stuff, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna like keep doing my thing, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So, I guess I kind of asked you what's next, but
I know. I wish I had a better answer.
you're just gonna keep doing you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gotten to a point where, like, luckily this is sort of just about, like, sharing my life and my lifestyle. And so, like, honestly, it's just about, like, doing cool shit and sharing that. And then trying to figure out what that next big step is, whether it's events or books or anything like that. So,
Working in the kitchen. That'd be great.
Maybe, yeah.
That'd be some great
reality TV
that-
show, yeah.
No, don't go reality TV because you have way more of an audience than they do.
Well, that's, yeah, like, I get asked about stuff like that, but I'd rather have control over the content. And, like,
Right?
like I could put out a cool IGTV series.
You could.
Versus, like, yeah.
Versus the Food Network taking advantage of you and being
Right,
like...
you just never know, yeah.
And then it's spun all weird, and then
Right.
it's like... Oh, and then you got to deal with these big cameras. And It's
Right.
like... When you could have one filmer with a mic on your lapel
Yeah.
and do this amazing series, and
It's a good idea.
I don't know.
You might see it. I'll
Hey,
let you know, yeah.
well, no. But, hey, so I love to end kind of by asking my guests this question. And do you have any sort of advice or experiences or anything you like to say to someone who kind of like looks at you and what you're doing? And I mean, what you're doing essentially is like this dream job, is unattainable, blah, blah, blah. We know that, like, whatever. But someone who's looking at what you're doing and kind of like, I want to do that. Like, how can I do what he's doing or do something similar? Like, what do you say to that person? Like, do you have anything to say to him?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, I think you need to figure out like what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I do stemmed from a passion, and I think that's like why I was able to get to this point. And I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I just want to like become an influencer and have followers and get paid to post stuff. And if that's your mindset, like, don't do it. But if you are really passionate about fashion or food or just if you have a really cool lifestyle and like you want to share that, I'd say be patient and just like crank out good content and collaborate with people doing the same thing and just kind of let it happen. I think a lot of what I do isn't planned, and I think that's sort of been the best thing is to like let things happen, let opportunities come about, and just focus on putting out good content, engaging with people, trying to grow, trying to do all that and see what comes of it. So like you said, like I don't know what's next, and I think that's what's exciting. And that's what's
cool.
always been like 2 years ago, if you asked me the same thing, I wouldn't have necessarily had an answer for you. But like that doesn't mean I'm not going to do something really cool next month or the month after. So I think just like letting the journey kind of happen and unfold like as it goes.
Riding that mystical dragon.
Yeah, and
man.
it sounds cliche, but like it works. I think just I try to like wake up and be like, oh, like what do I want to share? Like what am I passionate about today? Like what restaurants have I been wanting to go to and all that kind of stuff. And that ends up telling a better story than like trying to do what I need to do. So,
dude, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. If you're in it for the wrong reasons, then it's the wrong reasons. Oh, what's going on, man? Oh, okay. Dang. He kind of fucked that one up. Anyways, yeah, that's sweet, man. So, hey, man, it was good having you on the show.
yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it was
It's been
cool
awesome.
sitting down with you. I appreciate you putting up with everything that happened before this.
No,
and now it just happened to me.
It's been an experience, man. It's all fun.
It's been cool. It was super good having you on the show,
Yeah,
man.
thank you so much.
I hope it provided value to someone. If not, I enjoy talking to you,
Yeah.
Bradley. So, if someone's listening, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram at dcfoodporn. dcfoodporn.com is my website, but Instagram is where you'll find all my great content. So
Cool, guys. Well, it's over there. Check them out.
yeah, check me out.
Yeah. Until then, that's it. That's the angle, guys. Peace. I know I got to turn it all off.